Hey y'all, it's Sharice Conanan Johnson, and welcome to Sharice TV. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited because my aunt just left. She was visiting for the weekend, and just to give you a little bit more insight into how I spend my time, I love when family comes to visit me in the Shy, comes to see me and my husband and my child. It fills me up with energy, and it's that energy that I take into defining what wealth means. For me, wealth is more than the dollars and cents. It's about the people, and it's about the relationships, and it's about being fulfilled so that I can live my best life. And so, in addition to being filled up, I reached a milestone this weekend that I want to share with you because I think it's important for everybody to think about this. I signed on a dotted line for a new insurance policy, and that's life insurance. Having a small 10-month old has gotten us to think more about protection if anything catastrophic would happen. And I would hate to leave this earth earlier than I think I should be here, but things do happen, and we have many, I'm sure, experiences to point to that life is short and not guaranteed. And life insurance, although I hate paying the money, I feel good that I can set aside money in case something does happen. And so before signing on to this insurance policy, I had life insurance through my job. It covered about a $300,000 death benefit if I was to be taken out of this life. And I believe my husband had something similar. But again, given the birth of our child last year and speaking with our financial advisor, but also just wanting more protection in case something did go wrong and I didn't come home. And so I ended up doing a bit more research on types of insurance policies that one could get. And ultimately, I decided on a term life insurance policy. And just like the name, term means that you're paying premiums or a monthly amount for a specific term or specific period. And in my case, I did a term policy for 20 years, and I got roughly $2 million of coverage. I know that sounds like a lot, but in reality, I think it's enough. If something were to happen to me over the next 20 years, my death benefit to my child would be 2 million. And in addition to that, I have savings and so forth, but this would cover up to that amount of the policy. And I really thought about whether or not I should get term or what's called permanent insurance, which is whole life or universal. I'm sure you've heard of some of these terms, pun intended. In reality, though, permanent insurance is covers you for your entire life, and usually, in addition to the death benefit, it has a savings component that allows you to put money up as well. But ultimately, I decided on just the term because I figured in about 20 years, I'd also have enough money that if I died, I can leave my retirement money and any savings that I accrue to my husband if I precede him in death, and my family, and particularly again my daughter. So, in order to hedge against something happening between now and then, I bought this insurance policy. And again, I think about insurance as not a savings vehicle for myself, but in case something happens. And I feel great about signing on that dotted line. I'm paying roughly, and just to put it all out on the table, I'm paying roughly $1,000 a month for, excuse me, no, not $1,000 a month, $1,000 a year. That's the premium, the annual premium, that is. And over 20 years, that's about $20,000. So I said to myself, am I willing to pay $20,000 in case something happens for it to pay out roughly 2 million? And yes, I take that trade. Now I decided not to get a 30-year term insurance policy because at a 30-year policy, the actual annual premium was $2,000 because you're going more years, and over the life of that policy, that would be about 30 years times $2,000, which is $60,000. And I didn't want to take that trade, right? I figured that by 20 years, I'd have enough saved up to pay out. And I got to tell you, I felt so good signing this insurance policy, knowing that, again, if something were to happen to me, I am covered. And I want to encourage you, are you protected? Is your employer offering enough of a death benefit? And I think this changes when you start to have kids and it's someone else beside yourself who would be receiving the benefit. And so let me know some of the questions that you have asked and pondered, or if you're on the fence, I want to know what's stopping you from taking that step to get a life insurance policy that meets your needs. And if you are wavering between term or permanent, I want to know that too. These are questions I had as well, and I posed them with my financial advisor. I spoke to other people who are now in the baby boomer generation because they've paid into insurance for quite some time now, and I wanted to know their perspective. And I would say, by and large, they've told me this. You know what, Cherise? Insurance, and life insurance particularly, was peace of mind. And I wanted the peace of mind knowing that my loved ones were financially taken care of. At the end of the day, they also told me that it brings up all kinds of emotional feelings, right? You want to know, do I leave my child enough? Am I leaving them too little? And so that's a personal question and for you to figure out. But I think the important thing is to explore, do you actually need life insurance? And work backwards from that question, because I've been reading a lot over the last couple of weeks, and one article stands out. It says the American dream is alive and well. This was actually in the Wall Street Journal a few weeks ago, and I kept it. Yes, I do read written newspapers because I want to have the touch and feel of the paper. But the American dream is alive and well, and part of that dream that many Americans foresee for themselves and for their families. Am I making the living that I intended? Another measure is, am I doing better than my parents are doing in terms of the income and what I'm able to provide for my family? And there are two sides of that argument. One side has said wages have been stagnant. The other sides have said, there's been some growth, particularly in some of the bottom tier in terms of income earners relative to the top tier. But I'm sure you've heard it all in terms of this income inequality debate in this country. But when you think about, is the American dream alive and well? Am I able to provide what I need for my family? Do I have enough to put into life insurance when I also got to pay health insurance and childcare? Oh my gosh, don't get me started on childcare. We'll have another session on that. But ultimately, are you able to have and do the things in this country that you so desperately want to do and provide and still have that life and hopefully a purpose? And again, being and knowing that your loved ones are taken care of, I think is part of the American dream, right? I think we all have these ideals of what we're able to do in this country in order to be successful, but again, in order to have the purpose that we have for our own lives. And so that's what I want for you. As you think about the American dream, let me know what's important to you. Is it about providing for your family? Is it something else? Is it about traveling? Is it about doing something extraordinary, starting a business, whatever it might be? But ultimately, it comes back to, are you able to do the things and have the life that you want? And I'm arguing right now that life insurance is an important step. And if you haven't explored it, please do. Drop me a line, leave me a comment, like this video, and let's keep the dialogue going. Let me know what you're doing on your insurance needs. All right. Have a good one.